YouTube Power Hour Squad. Erika here for another interview for you. So for this episode of the YouTube Power Hour podcast, I'm interviewing full-time Harvard student Sienna Santer. Now, Sierra's story is super interesting, and in this episode, she reveals how she is able to both balance being a full-time student at Harvard and having a successful YouTube channel. She actually didn't start her channel until right before leaving for college. So her rise on YouTube actually happened her first year in college. She went from 0 to 255,000 YouTube subscribers in 1 year. So she details her entire journey, how she was able to create a couple different viral videos, which brought in a ton of views and subscribers to her channel, plus how she's able to balance everything. So if you're new here, then welcome. If you're listening, then on the podcast, on iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you're listening, please know that we do have our podcast on YouTube. So you can see what's going on. You can see us being interviewed. And then you can also go and comment and letting us know what it is you are learning from this episode and your biggest takeaways. And if you are new to YouTube or if you have a YouTube channel and you're looking for tips in order to grow your channel, I do have a free masterclass that you can access at erikaviera.net/masterclass. And I basically took all the information that I gained from interviewing 250 really successful YouTube creators and distilled them into this 1-hour class for you. So head over to erikaviera.net/masterclass to get your class. All right, enjoy the interview. Mwah. Well, hello, Sienna. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you. I mean, you are a full-time student. You have a very successful YouTube channel, so I know your schedule is crazy busy. But thank you. Thank you for taking the time to kind of share your experience with our listeners and viewers here. So before we dive into everything, why don't you give us just a brief overview in your journey so far on YouTube?
Yeah, of course. So I actually really started posting in December of last year, so December 2018. And it's been quite a wild ride. I never really set out to be a YouTuber or to do it full time. It just kind of was a passion of mine to edit videos for like my friends and family. Mm-hmm. And I was on a gap year before coming to college and wanted to document that because that was something that not many people got to experience. And a lot of my friends and family were wondering what I was up to. So I kind of started filming like just on my iPhone and uploading those. And I uploaded like one video publicly. And then once I kind of got into Harvard and made that public to people, I got a lot of questions about like, oh, how'd you get in? Can you help me with your application? And I was like, okay, why not make a video about it? Because I was sitting down with people and emailing them. And I was just like, wow, a video would be so much easier. And I could actually reach people that might not know me personally, but might need this help. And so I set out to create the video that I wish I had had when I was applying. Mm-hmm. And that was really like the goal. It wasn't to really start like a channel or anything. And I got a few subscribers from that, but it wasn't really, a channel at the time. Mm-hmm. I only had like 2 videos. And then I filmed my move into Harvard because it was something that not many people had posted before. Like there was a lot of content from other schools and other colleges. And, you know, when I got in, it like the first thing I did was look up on YouTube videos of like college, like Harvard dorms and move in and like the experience. And no one was really filming it. And so I thought that was kind of a cool opportunity. So I spent my entire freshman fall semester just really like diving headfirst and didn't post or anything. And then in December during finals period, I finally had some free time and was like, why not edit a video? It was kind of a creative outlet for me. And I posted a move-in vlog of me moving in freshman year, but it was in December. So the timing was a little off.
Yeah.
But I posted that just like kind of not really thinking much of it. And it immediately blew up and had over 1 million views within a week. Oh and gosh. I think I went from like 2,000 to like 32,000 in 2 weeks. And it just kind of kept growing from there. And, you know, it was the third video I had ever posted. Everything was shot on my iPhone. I had like no idea what I was doing. I had to look up YouTube videos on how to edit YouTube videos. And I was like, wow, okay. That was the first time when I was like, this could really be something. So I started basically posting after that semi-regularly, as regularly as I could with my schedule. And it became like, I don't know, kind of a passion project for me. Like I loved editing and the creative outlet. Like I'd always watched YouTubers since I was really young, but never thought that I could be one. And then it kind of just became this overnight possibility. And yeah, I just kind of have been using it as a way to share my experience and document it for people to see. And also for me to like look back onto, to like, this is such a crazy time. Like I'm going through this college experience that not many people get to go through, and I want to be able to document it in any way that I can and kind of be able to look back and see how far I've come and how much I've grown. So it's been about what now, like still less than a year. Yeah. About 10 months. So really quite a newbie, but I'm adjusting.
A newbie, but a newbie with 255,000 subscribers, which is crazy.
Yes, it has been quite a whirlwind.
So, okay, let's go back, and I'll pull this up for those of you guys who are watching on YouTube. If you're not, you should come hang out with us on YouTube so you can see us.
Yes.
Okay, so you had like a little vlog thing that you uploaded, but then you did get your How to Get Into Harvard. But at the time, did this one not have as many views as it has now? Because now it has almost 1 million views. It sounds like from your story, It didn't at the time.
I think it was because I didn't really optimize it with like tags, and I mean, I had it like a good title and like a thumbnail, and I knew that was important, but I didn't really know how to optimize it so that people would watch it. And because I think I posted it when I had like 30 subscribers. So it did get quite a few views. I would say like several, it might've been like 10,000 in like the first month or so.
Okay.
Maybe a little more. But it didn't quite blow up in the way that the other one did. But then over the summer, it started picking up more and more. It wasn't as immediate as the move-in vlog was.
Yeah. And
but
probably, Finish.
No, it definitely did get some traction because there aren't that many videos out there about like how to get into Harvard specifically, and it was quite easy to kind of rise to the top of like the search.
Yeah, because I think, let me see, when we can click on it. When did you upload this? So it was August, so it was actually around the time when people would be interested in this kind of content. But because I was like, oh, I wonder if it like gained traction when it was closer to around like school time. But I mean, a lot of times the things that I see too is that when somebody has a video that blows up, like for example, like the other one that you did, which you said blew up, the college move-in vlog, which was literally like the next video that you did. This is the next video after. Yeah.
It was the next video. Yeah, I took about like 4-month break where I just kind of like didn't upload.
Yeah.
Because it was just like a personal channel. Like I didn't have any demand for content necessarily. Yeah. I was just like, oh, why not? Had some free time. It was a creative experience.
Yeah. Well, and you were in Harvard, like, you know, going to school. Probably busy. Yes. But then the next video after that, How to Get Into Harvard, has that's the one that went viral at 4.6 million views. That you said when you went from 2,000 subscribers to like 30-something thousand subscribers. But what's interesting is a lot of times when something like this happens is that when people find this and they subscribe or they find this, they want to say, well, what else is she talking about? And I'm wondering if maybe, my suspicion is that maybe this video started to take off once this video started to take off.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the conversion isn't quite the same, but I used that video to like link to the other one.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, people that were interested in watching me move in were also interested in watching how I had gotten in and learning about that.
Yeah, it's like very related, right? And then your dorm tour, which you uploaded, it looks like a month after your viral video, the 4.6 million viewed video, did pretty well too, at almost 1 million. Did this one take off right away?
I wouldn't say right away, not in the way that the move-in vlog did, but it definitely had more traction than if I had just posted like a regular video, I would say. And I kind of knew a little bit more about what I was doing and had researched like how to optimize for search results and add tags and stuff. And there weren't, maybe like one other person had posted a dorm tour like at Harvard. So again, it kind of came up on like at the top of the search list.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, how many Harvard students are creating YouTube videos? I mean, you would know more than anybody. Are there any other kids?
Yeah, there's a guy in the year above me who is on leave right now for a year. He's actually writing a book. His name's John Fish, and he was doing it before me. And then I think there were a couple other smaller people that were doing it, but not regularly. And I think it was funny because I was expecting like a lot of the videos that I had seen had been popular, but hadn't quite blown up in the way that, like, for instance, John's videos did. And so I kind of expected my videos to be like that, whereas I wasn't really expecting the blow up. I was expecting people to be kind of attracted to the Harvard name, but they would kind of watch and like move on. And I definitely wasn't expecting the attachment and people coming back for me rather than just like, oh, like this is a girl at Harvard, like cool, whatever, I can move on. It could be anyone. And I think that's what really inspired me to continue posting, was that people were coming back and being like, yeah, it's great that you go to this amazing school. Like your background's really cool. Like you're an amazing person, but like, it's really you that I'm like drawn to instead of like your school. And that was kind of new for me because I wasn't expecting people to watch my videos, at least the initial ones that I posted, for me specifically, but then having people coming back and being like, you inspire me to work harder. Like, it's amazing what you've done. Like, I love how you value your education, but you also have these other interests. You can show, like, you show that women can be multifaceted. Like, they were picking up on all of these things that I wasn't even explicitly trying to convey, but I found so special. And I was like, wow, I can actually do something with this.
Yeah. At what point did that start to happen?
I would say around like the new year. I got like a manager. I started posting more consistently. Like, still school posed like a problem, and I wasn't as consistent as I'd like to be, but I really started to prioritize it, learned how to edit better, learned how to do different things and add like end cards and info cards and stuff like that. Because this was all so new to me too. I wasn't putting videos out and like in the best quality. I got a vlog camera for Christmas too. That was like my parents' kind of symbol of their support, was just like, all right, we're gonna get you this camera. And after that, no more iPhone videos. And I don't know, I think the big change was that I actually started promoting it on my Instagram and for people like outside of just my immediate circle. And I started advertising it to friends and to like the Harvard community and people that followed me. They're like, hey, like I'm actually doing this and I have this whole other side of me that people didn't really know about. And it's funny, people still don't really know about it that much. I think I'm slowly learning to advertise it. It's definitely not the first thing that people know about me, but I kind of like that. I don't know. I think I've created an identity at the school that is outside of me being a YouTuber, but it also kind of fits in nicely with it. But yeah, I'm learning how to advertise it to people and kind of cross promote on different channels. And I think that was one like the big like spring semester of freshman year was when I really started promoting it and being like, hey, like I'm proud of this. Like this is really cool. I don't know what I'm doing. Like this might fail. Like this is a big leap of faith for me, but I'm going to go for it. And I think it was especially novel too, because not many people were doing it and no one else in my year really. And it was something that's very outside of the Harvard norm, like YouTube, social media. Like I'm a very California person. Like I grew up there. Like, I don't know, I kind of emanate those qualities, and Harvard's very New England and like traditional. And in a lot of ways, I think I go against the grain, and YouTube was definitely one of those ways, but I've pretty much fully like embraced it. And it was just like, all right, we're doing this. I'm going to go for it. And, you know, kind of who cares if I stand out a little bit? Like that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to do something different.
What do the other kids at Harvard think about your channel?
Mixed reviews, I would say.
Okay.
I think that was the biggest hurdle, was freshman year. Kind coming in without a channel and then starting it. And for the first time, then having people know me just from that, or is like, oh, you do YouTube. I wasn't known as like the YouTube girl before, or that I don't know if that's really my title on campus, because I definitely made a name for myself before that without it and had like circles. But I think it was definitely mixed reviews. It's not something that people wanted to support, I think, because it was very different and it was something that was going against the norm. And, you know, a lot of people here are interested in finance and consulting. And, you know, I wasn't interested in that. I was interested in business and startups and marketing, branding. I study women, gender, and sexuality studies and psychology. And a lot of people here study economics or government or STEM. And I've like fully kind of embraced that I'm not a person that will study those things, or that's not where my interests lie. So I think in many ways, like YouTube just became a part of the ways that I was just so different from the normal student here. And it made me stand out, I would say, in both good ways and bad ways. I think good ways because I was able to make so many connections with people that I wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. And I think, you know, just because people knew me, or I was more well-known on campus for having this channel, it allowed me to meet a lot more people and like form those connections. And like, while I think it's very easy to make split-second judgments about people from social media and from YouTube, I think I was able to kind of take people's judgments of me and then turn them around through like in-person, like authentic relationships, communication. Social media can be very like one-sided, and you can only see one side of people. And, you know, YouTube is still very catered to. It goes through an editing process. Like everything you see is filtered in some way, even if it doesn't look like it is. But it was the most authentic way that I knew to communicate with people. And so I really wanted to kind of break down the walls with my channel and communicate to people, like both at the school and outside, that like, you know, hey, like I'm just a normal person that struggles like you too. Like, it's okay if you think you're failing, like we all do. It's okay if you have like imposter syndrome at the school. It can be tough. You know, college is such a whirlwind for people. And even if I may look like I have it all together, I don't, but I'm trying my best, and I want to inspire people with kind of the tools and the resources that I have learned and acquired, like to do their best too. So it was definitely a lot of mixed reviews, but it's mostly been good.
Yeah, I think that is interesting about you, that you didn't come in as like a YouTuber, that like almost that identity as a YouTuber was formed after you're in school, which is interesting considering that your channel is about being a college student at Harvard. It's just like the whole, it's like everything was new for you, like being a YouTuber and a college student, all that at the same time. I can imagine that would be a lot to navigate.
It definitely was a lot. I think coming into freshman year, I mean, college in itself is a lot, but like being at Harvard and everything that comes with, and the kind of elitism that I had to navigate, and like the different social like structures and social norms that were very different from high school or kind of anything I had known before, as well as, like having a channel and kind of everyone knowing who I was, and, you know, receiving a lot of judgment and hate on a daily basis and having to navigate that and, you know, feeling very outside of my narrative too. I think that was something I had to let go of, was that, you know, I love being in control, you know, I'm very organized. Like I like controlling my narrative and what people think about me, and being online and not having any control over that really, or what people are going to think or how you're going to come across to certain people. That was very new for me, and I had to adjust to that, definitely. And it was a lot. It's like, you know, I'm older because I took gap year, but 19 coming into college, like you're making mistakes, like you're, you know, you're just kind of a kid still. And having that broadcasted for a lot of people to watch, like, you know, by my own choice, but it doesn't allow for much room for improvement or like a learning curve, which I think is the one downside of it, is that people are very quick to judge any sort of mistake that you make. But I think, you know, we kind of just have to remind each other that we're all like human at the end of the day. And, you know, even if you are broadcasting your life on YouTube, it's to be authentic, and it is to relate to people. And, you know, you're not always going to be perfect, and you're going to slip up. And I think there's a beauty in that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it is interesting that like the like the first couple of videos you did, I mean, it was like your third video, boom, went viral, 5 million subscribers. So it's like you don't have a lot of that time when you're on the smaller side to kind of make some of those mistakes. Not talking about like you in college, I'm talking about you're in your YouTube career. You just don't have those times to make those mistakes, and they're for everyone to see.
Exactly. Yeah, it was going from so little to so many subscribers kind of overnight, and then having that just kind of skyrocket. It wasn't easy because I felt like I was such a newbie. I still am. Like, I still don't really know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But I have such a large platform that it does make it very difficult to make mistakes, I would say.
So let's go back to your timeline a little bit. I'm going to show kind of your social blade. So you said that, so this was a time where, right here, so if you guys aren't checking us out on YouTube, come over so you can kind of see the graph and everything. But so this was where looks like that viral video happened, December. You said that's when you uploaded it, and then you got to 30-something subscribers, 30-something thousand. And then you kept uploading beginning of this year, 2019, and kind of very like consistently was growing. Very consistently.
Yeah.
Couple thousand subscribers, it seems like every week at least.
Yeah, that was a big shock for me because I was kind of expecting to just have the one video blow up and then no one really pay attention. But as I started posting more, I started getting more loyal people, and I've had people from the very beginning that supported me when I had, 1,000 subscribers, maybe even less, and they've stayed with me until now. And so I think I owe a lot of like my growth to them and to like the people that kept coming back and supporting me, like no matter what. Like, that was incredible to have so early on. Yeah. And that's not something very many people get. So I'm very fortunate to have had like a lot of support from subscribers and from people that actually like watched my videos and cared about me and, were there with me as I made mistakes and, forgot to upload and, didn't have the best quality or something. They were understanding and kind of grew with me as I was growing my channel.
Yeah, for sure. And then you said that you really started to take your channel seriously more like in the spring of this year, like 2019? Or were you?
Yes.
Okay, when was that?
I wouldn't say it was a specific date. I think it was once I started posting like a little more regularly and being in more control of like the content that I was posting and actually planning things out. I started getting actual sponsorships. I think my first sponsored video was in April. Okay, so that was new. Yeah, that was a learning curve. That big jump there in May, that was when I posted a day in the life video. Okay,
let me see where that one is. Where is it? Do you see it?
Oh, it was at the top on the left.
Oh, right here is your first one. Okay. Yeah, this one got 5.3 million views.
Yeah, it's my most popular video to date.
Yeah, got it. So then you did your move-in vlog was the first one that went viral. And then in the spring of this year, you had this one, 5.3 million.
Coffee shop vibe. Yes.
Okay, got it. And in that one, interestingly enough, when I watched that video, that one was a sponsored video, right?
It was, yes, which in hindsight wasn't quite the best idea. I think I didn't realize that it was going to take off in the way that it was. And I just saw it as like an opportunity to make a really cool video for a brand that I was working with and kind of over deliver. Because I think it was only like the second or third brand I'd ever worked with, and I was still new to it and really wanted to perform well. But in hindsight, I think it definitely shouldn't have been a sponsored video.
Why?
I think going back to like authenticity, that's been my main goal from the beginning. And, with sponsorships and YouTube, like there's a way to integrate them that's very natural, but it's always going to be sponsored, and like you want to be as authentic as possible. And, I only work with brands that I think are like ethically sound and that support my values, and I make sure to test them all out beforehand. But it is still, sponsored. You are promoting a product, and I want to be careful to not take advantage of people and take advantage of my subscribers. It's tough because this is like my job and this is how I like support myself and my education. But at the same time, you have to be careful of what you choose to promote and when. And, you know, I think there's just certain videos, I think especially ones to do with Harvard, like brands are very attractive. But I want to be mindful of that and kind of show like, you know, hey, this is my day to day. Like, yes, YouTube is a big part of my life here, but I also want to focus on like me, the student, and the person that's here because like, you know, this was my goal growing up and my dream for as long as I can remember. And now I'm actually here. And so I think going forward with a lot of the videos that I do kind of showing my day to day at Harvard, I want to not be as sponsored.
You want it to be just very, just pure in a way of just kind of focusing on that.
Yeah, and more natural.
Yeah, because when you throw in a sponsorship, it's, you know, it's like you have a job to do in that moment in time. Obviously, like you said, though, you were looking to really over-deliver when it came to this kind of video. And I'm sure, you know, your sponsors were happy. It was like,
they're happy, yeah.
I mean, it's like they probably got a huge bargain, like for whatever they paid you at the time.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean,
that was kind of a rookie mistake, but
yeah,
I've learned.
Are you open to say kind of how much you got from that video?
Oh, yeah, from the sponsorship. Oh, I don't think it was much. It might have been, I think, 1,000. It's you know, sponsorships are based on guaranteed views, and I think my amount of guaranteed views was a joke. It might have been 15 or 20,000, and it's got 5.6 million. So they paid me proportionate to how many views. So I think it was about 1,000. But then, you know, my management takes 20% cut of that too. So at the end of the day, I probably only made like $800 on that video from the sponsor, which, yeah, in a business sense was not a smart move, but looking back, you're like, yeah, just a mistake.
Well, the thing is, how are you going to predict that that video specifically was going to be the one to be your highest viewed video? Like, how do you predict that?
Yeah, you never really know when a video is going to blow up. Like, I know if I put Harvard in the title, like, it's more likely to. And if I have a good thumbnail and, you know, a good title and have great tags that are going to work and get good SEO, like, then the video is likely to do well. But you really never know. It's always a gamble.
Yeah.
So I wasn't going into it expecting the video to blow up. I don't really try to make videos with the intention of going viral. I think that's not honorable, or I don't know. It's something that personally that I don't want to do. But I do know that some videos will get more traction than others, and anything that shows like my life at Harvard, people will be more interested in watching than a vlog with like my family or friends, for instance.
Yeah, like you said too, like, you know that like if you're going to put the word Harvard in the title, it's going to be one of your keywords, like that's probably going to get more views. Then that video is the one that got viral, and it was a sponsored video. So prior to that, you said you had other sponsored videos before that, or you had worked with sponsors prior to that. And then you said you had a manager with that video. Did you start off working with sponsors and then you got a manager, or did a manager reach out to you and then that's how you were able to start getting sponsorships?
A manager reached out to me actually before I even posted the viral video of me moving in. So I had just posted the two. It was, I think, it was November of 2018. And he reached out to me and was like, hey, like, I see a lot of potential in your channel. I know you only have 2,000 subscribers and 2 videos. And, you know, this is kind of a gamble. Like, I'm taking a risk on you, but I think you have potential. And I think if you actually start taking this seriously, it could be a real thing. So do you want this or not? And I met with him for coffee and was just like, all right, like, I guess I'm going to go for this. Like, I kind of agonized over the decision for a long time. Like, took about a month to decide really whether to go with him or not, and to kind of pursue YouTube kind of full time as well as being a student. You know, I was home over break, was talking with like my family, my parents, they're my support team. You know, we're kind of a trio, and they were helping me like make the decision. So it was definitely not something I took lightly. But yes, he came to me, which was not what I was expecting at all.
Yeah, especially at such a small size, at 2,000 subscribers. How did he find you? Did he say how he found you? I
think he just stumbled. he actually graduated from Harvard as well, and then now owns like a talent management company. But I think he had just stumbled upon probably my how to get into Harvard video, and was like, hey, like, I think you can kind of capitalize on this, but you know, in a way that, like, if you really want to, this could be a really cool way to show your life and support yourself through college and start something.
Wow. And so did your decision to go with him and kind of work on YouTube more as a consistent full-time, not full-time because you're obviously a student, but more consistently go hand in hand?
It did. Yeah. I think signing on to like a talent management company and posting more regularly, they definitely went hand in hand, because that meant sponsorships. It meant having deliverables and having people to be accountable to. And, you know, it wasn't just me anymore. Like, this was a whole other group of people that I had to be accountable for, like, to. And, you know, my videos, in a sense, like, they weren't just, or they were about me, but like, they were having other goals as well too, with like sponsorships and like actually branding it, I think was the thing, and monetizing it. So it was kind of everything all at once. Like, I started monetizing, I started posting and like cross promoting like on my social media channels, and was like, hey, like, I'm posting videos now, this is the thing. I started earning money. It became the way that I started supporting myself. Went with a manager, like, kind of just dove right in, but was still very small and didn't really know anything. But yeah, no, it was a lot. It was definitely a big decision.
And so you had mentioned something prior to us, you know, hitting record, which I thought was really interesting, and I would love to talk with you a little bit more about it, is the fact that your YouTube channel basically financially supports you right now, that you're financially independent of your parents?
Pretty much. I think I don't throw around that word lightly, and I would say, like, you know, my parents have been with me throughout and like will continue to support me, but it kind of was like a mutual agreement that once I started earning my own money, and, you know, even in high school, I was pretty independent from my parents, and that I tried to fund whatever that I could myself, like my own travel, like spending money, that sort of thing. And then, once I started making money from YouTube, my parents are like, okay, like, we're kind of going to let you be on your own now. And, you know, of course, like, family vacations, like when I'm at home, they pay for things, but everything when I'm at school is all through me, and I make pretty much all financial decisions. And, you know, I'll kind of call up my parents and be like, hey, like, I'm flying to see a friend this weekend. They're like, okay, like, that's your decision. It's your money. If you think you can do it, go for it. And, you know, they're there to support, but I make all budgeting decisions. My money is like going towards my tuition largely, and like textbooks. Yes, tuition, that is a big one. That's actually through my parents, as we worked out, is they didn't want me to have to pay loans, which was very nice of them. So basically, I'm in debt with them instead of the college, which is nice, because then
I don't have to pay the interest and all that.
Exactly. So I can kind of figure out how to pay for it, like, over time, which is really nice. And, you know, I'm very fortunate to have that agreement with them, because not many people do. But yeah, like, textbooks, spending money, travel, clothes, like any sort of necessities. I was sick the past weekend and had to get, you know, antibiotics, and that was quite expensive. And, you know, just making these like little decisions when you're away from home, where, you know, like, luckily a lot of my like food and rent is, you know, in my tuition and in the bill that I pay to like the college, but everything else kind of I have to make decisions about. And, you know, in the beginning I was living paycheck to paycheck. There was times when I was like, hi, I literally have $5 in my account. I can't go eat out. I can't go to a concert. I have to wait until my next AdSense check comes in, basically, because that was the consistent paycheck that I was getting. I did get an on-campus job too, two actually, in order to support myself while YouTube was still picking up. And now, thankfully, I've been able to transition into having like just YouTube, as well as like something that I just kind of do on the side for experience. But yeah, it was definitely a learning curve too, like being thrown in freshman year and being like, hey, I'm going to be like pretty much financially independent. And even before YouTube, that was the agreement with my parents as well, was that like, you know, you're going to find a way to pay for college somehow. Like,
Oh.
you know, we know you want to do this. And, you know, it was something that I wanted to. And it really, I think, showed me like the value of education was that like, hey, like I'm watching, like I'm writing this check. I'm sending it to the college. Like this is money that's actually going to come out of me. But I realize like how valuable it is. And this is like a choice that I'm consciously making because, you know, I could be going to community college. I could be going to my local state school. I could not be going to college at all. But I value my education. And I think that this experience is going to give me things that those things wouldn't. And that's a choice I'm making. And that's different for everyone else. But, you know, my parents really wanted me to understand the financials of that situation and be like, hey, like this isn't something you're going to take lightly. And I think it's been good because then I've been able to view like all financial decisions that way.
Wow. But I mean, that's amazing. I'm sure you've had like a crash course in like finance and budgeting and all these types of things. But I would imagine there's a lot of pressure though on you. Like, given that you're also going to school, so there's that pressure of school, there's the pressure of performing well at Harvard, but now you have this additional pressure of your YouTube channel, and now that financially supporting your education. Like, I would think that's a lot of pressure.
It is. I think I find like what I struggle with right now, I think the most is prioritizing and what to prioritize on a day-to-day basis. Like for me, school has always come first and been number one. But you know, when YouTube is my job and when YouTube is paying for my school and it's paying for my food and it's paying for me being here, I also have to prioritize that as well. And, you know, I also want to. So it is kind of like a constant toss up between like, do I do homework? Do I edit a video? Like, you know, I'll have like calls and then I'll have a meeting for a club. And it is quite a lot to balance. And I think I'm going to have to start making a lot more sacrifices than I already do and start taking it a bit more seriously because at this point, I'm kind of weighing everything equally. And I'm involved in a lot of things on campus too, which realistically, I probably can't do anymore. Just if I want to actually, you know, grow my brand, make YouTube like a really full-time business, which I want to too. I want to take it and make something really meaningful of it. And I don't know exactly what that is yet, but I know that like I care about people and I want to use that to help people in any way that I can. And so I think just this year, especially, I'm having to sit down and say like, hey, what do I really want to get out of my college experience? That's insanely different than it was like last semester or going into college. I think that's going to change every year. Like, you know, when I was in high school, I had no idea this was going to be a thing. I thought I was just going to college to, you know, get a degree and walk out. And, you know, that's still largely what I'm here to do. I think I'm valuing more and more the network and the people that I'm meeting here and the experiences more than just sitting in a classroom. Like that's valuable too. But I think at the end of the day, what I'm really going to get out of Harvard is going to be way more than a traditional education in the traditional sense of the word.
Yeah, it's a whole experience. It's not just what you're learning in the classrooms. It's everything. Yeah. I believe that about college too. Like it is, yes, you're learning things, but it's really like you being on your own, you figuring things out socially, whatever it is. So, yeah. So then how are you then so then you're working with sponsors. Is the majority of your income from your YouTube channel from your sponsors, or is it pretty like mixed with sponsors and AdSense? How does kind of the breakdown?
I would say it's pretty mixed. It kind of depends on the month and how many sponsors I have that month. I'm definitely trying to pare them down and create less sponsored videos and actively only work with brands that I really love and that are like kind of my dream collaborations and not, you know, I've never accepted everything that comes through the door, but really trying to be more selective with it. I would say, you like AdSense is the traditional like monthly paycheck that comes in. Sponsors, you know, they go through my management first. So I don't get that check for several months at a time, usually until like after the sponsorship, which is why I do rely on AdSense kind of as my paycheck, just monthly. That's how I pay my bills. That's how I do everything. And sponsorship money has kind of become the bonus, which is good. So I've been able to live on AdSense money pretty much entirely and fund like, my time here, textbooks, just errands, everything. And then I've been able to invest the sponsorship money and kind of set it aside for retirement and like other savings. But I also have to take out taxes. That's something that no one ever told me was that, for money from YouTube, money from sponsorships, they don't take out taxes because, you're not an employee. You have to do it yourself. So it's become an exercise, and hey, I get a paycheck, but like half of that money is not mine. And, my dad like kind of instilled this in me, and he's always been great about managing money, and he's taught me pretty much everything I know. And he was like, yeah, you can't take your paycheck and treat it like that's your money. You've got to first set aside, the 50 or so percent, or almost half percent. I guess it's a little less, but half I do set aside for taxes just to be safe.
Yeah.
And then you always pay yourself first. So you put it in savings, you put it in your retirement, and then whatever money left over, that's your money to work with. So that's kind of the system I follow.
Yeah. And I guess you kind of have to, because it's that responsibility, if you're going to be doing that, and you're going to have, you're supporting yourself. It's not just about, okay, it's like play money. And then, obviously you have to pay your taxes, but you're going to you have to budget. Like, oh, this goes to school. This is everything else. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Ooh. That's crazy. So it sounds like your sponsorships all go and funnel through your management company. So at least you don't have to worry about finding it, that they're finding them for you.
Yes.
Okay.
So that is a big weight off my chest, that I don't have to deal with the emails and the negotiations. Like, that's all through them. And then they just kind of present it to me as like, hey, this is a sponsorship. This is how much they're offering you. This is how many views. Yes or no. So it does take that pressure and that like responsibility off of me. But, at the same time, I also do want to learn to do that for myself, I think, too. And that's like a really good business tool to have, to be able to negotiate for yourself and stand up for yourself and say, hey, no, this is like what I deserve to be paid. And I think it's a good tool. So I don't have the time to do it right now, but eventually I do think I would want to have some involvement in that.
Yeah. So how do you manage your time? Like, I mean, what does like an average, say, day look like, or week look like, when you're both, studying at Harvard, getting your education, and at the same time managing a pretty large size YouTube channel?
Yeah, it's definitely a whirlwind. Every day is different. I would say most of my day is definitely focused on school. I mean, I have a planner, I have my Google Calendar. There's this thing at Harvard where people like to compare their Google calendars and see who's more busy, which is hilarious to me. But mine is quite full and color coded. So I have like YouTube obligations. If I have like a sponsorship, I'll always put that in. I have classes every day. So yeah, Monday through Friday, I usually have 2 or 3 classes a day that I'm going to, and they're about like an hour and 15 minutes. And then, after that, I have like clubs and activities. So I'm usually going to some meeting or on a call. Then I do like calls and business stuff for YouTube. So it's a lot of multitasking. I schedule things like in between classes. A lot of times, like I'll eat lunch while doing something else, while working on an assignment. Somehow try to squeeze in a workout every single day.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Every other day is more realistic. I definitely don't get enough sleep. That's just not happening right now. That's something I want to prioritize more, but I'm trying to prioritize seeing people and also taking time for myself. And it's, there really aren't enough hours in a day to go to school and go to meetings and, do YouTube, and then also like see people that I care about, and then take care of myself too. But I'm trying as best as I can. So I always try to have like some sort of social interaction. It can be very easy to go days here without seeing your friends, just because everyone's so different and has, so many different schedules. You can not be in the same classes as your friends. You can never be like on the same side of like campus as your friends. So you have to actively make time to see people. So I like to schedule people like in for meals. So I'll just be like, hey, let's grab coffee. Let's grab lunch in the D hall, or, let's go out to like a restaurant. Like if we're feeling fancy. And that's been the way that I've been able to both stay connected with like old friends and meet new people and like spend more time with new people. And that's something I really like to prioritize because I'm a social butterfly. Like I get my energy from people, and you know, YouTube is a very lonely career, lonely business, I guess, because it's all kind of online and you don't have that much face-to-face interaction. So for me, like going to classes, I do get that, but I try to prioritize like seeing people and being around people as much as possible. So it's definitely quite busy. Like at the end of the day, when I come back to my dorm room, I'm exhausted always, but I try to make time for self-care. Like I have like a morning routine. I wake up, make my bed, and then like the first thing I do is meditate for 10 minutes, usually without fail, but depends sometimes on the day. But I try to do that, and then I'll put on like a podcast or music, kind of just like get up and at 'em and get ready for the day, you know, do my makeup, then go do like a workout, or if I'm just going to class, I try to eat 3 meals a day too. Like a lot of college students don't eat breakfast, but started eating breakfast freshman year, and it like changed my life because I'd never been a breakfast person before, but that was so important. And then like pretty much almost every minute of every day, I would say is right
pretty
now
much booked. How often are you uploading on YouTube? Is it once a week or twice a week?
Oh, it's not even that much.
Okay.
I have been significantly slacking, I would say, which is, I mean, completely on me. This semester has been a lot. Sophomore year comes with a lot more responsibilities than freshman year. And you kind of have, there's a lot of pressure to determine your life and what you want to do in your career. And I'm juggling all of that. But yeah, I would say it's averaging out to about once a week, maybe even once every 2 weeks at this point. I still have so many videos I have to post from like the summer and like my time abroad and everything. And I find that I get really backlogged. But when I do sit down and I do have time to edit and make it a priority, then like I love it. I think I like to edit all at once, and I'm not very good at spreading it out consistently. So I think if I start prioritizing like 3 hours a day where I just sit down and edit, I think I could do a lot more. But the way that my schedule is right now and like classes and everything, I can't. So it's more like I will edit for like 6 or 7 hours in one day, and then I won't have time. But it's something I definitely sacrifice sleep for to edit. But it's worth it. Yeah,
for sure. So I guess it does make a little more sense, because considering like your schedule's so crazy busy being a student, that like your schedule right now, you're doing about 2 to 3 videos a month, you would say? Yeah,
I would say that's more realistic. It's definitely a statistic I want to raise and like get better at, though.
Yeah, but your videos they're still doing good? They're getting good views and everything? Like, let's see. Yeah, I mean, let's look at it.
I think I have a really loyal fan base that supports me no matter what I do. So, you know, they'll be like, oh no, like you're not uploading, or you haven't uploaded in a while, but then they'll be so excited when I do. So they're supportive.
Yeah, because it's like the last one you uploaded was like a couple days ago, college weekend in my life, and that's 22,000. And then the one from 2 weeks ago is at almost 900,000 views, which is really good, and 70,000 views. It's like you're kind of doing what you have to do to survive in this environment. And luckily, like for you, because I know everyone's like, oh, you know, I have to be consistent every single week. And I agree to an extent, but at the same time, it's like you also have to do what's not going to kill you. And like for you, if uploading every week or twice a week is going to kill you, or you're going to sacrifice your studies, or you're going to end up not being, you know, you'll drop out of Harvard, all this crazy stuff. It's like, it's just not worth it, right?
We wouldn't want that.
Exactly. So it's like, you know, for you, you're doing what's working, and you know, you're still getting the views and you're still getting the sponsorship. So it's like until you're able to step it up in regards to doing it weekly, which you might not for a while, maybe only in the summers. I don't know. So it looks like you do a lot of traveling. I don't know, but as long as you're consistently creating content, even if it's just once a month, twice a month, then your audience knows to expect that in a way.
Yeah, I think yes, they've definitely come to expect variability and not consistency, which is, I think it's so funny because that's the number one thing that a lot of people say that you need in order to grow a channel. And that's been the last thing that I've had.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been kind of funny because my tools for success are very different than other people's, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I always make sure too that I'm putting out content that I am insanely proud of and that I'm happy to upload and that I myself would watch. And I think that's also why sometimes I don't upload as frequently as I would like, is I could create, you know, a vlog every weekend or every day or,
Mm-hmm.
you know, every week or something, or I could just film like random things. But I really try to put out very selective things that I find interesting and that I think people would want to watch and that I spend a lot of time editing and filming
Mm-hmm.
and making sure it's the best quality, because to me that's more worth it than putting out things more consistently that aren't as good.
Yes.
So I think people get that, is that, you know, I may not post as consistently or I may not post as frequently as some other people, but my videos will be good or will be ones that I think people like watching.
Worthwhile watching.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a big believer in YouTube in regards to quality over quantity. I really think I've interviewed enough people, worked with enough people to see that it really is about, well, your thumbnails and titles are important, and then about your videos being good. And it's like there's no point in consistently creating crap. There's just no point in that.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just you waste of time.
You have to actually like believe in what you're doing too. So like, you know, if a video isn't exciting for you or it's not authentic to what you're doing, like, you know, why would you put it out? Like, I think a lot of people like to capitalize on trends that are happening and, you know, things that are going on like in the YouTube community. And like, that's great if that fits in with your channel, but I find like a lot of it doesn't for me. So I think there's, you know, there's ways that you can definitely capitalize on things and post more frequently and, you know, always have content. But it's like, I want to make sure that my content is always very true to me and who I am. And, you know, if that means being more selective and being like waiting a little bit longer, you know, I am a perfectionist. I do like to put out what I see as like the best, but I don't know. I think you have to decide like what your audience will like. And like, luckily, I think my audience values what I value. So then we're aligned that way.
Yeah. And it goes with your branding of being a Harvard student. You're busy, you know, it makes sense.
Yes, I have an excuse.
Yeah. So, okay, we're at the last part of the interview, and I call this the Power Hour segment. So I just gonna rapid fire questions, and you kind of come up with the answer, you know, at the top of your head. So, what would you say are the defining moments of your YouTube career so far?
Ooh, okay, definitely the move-in vlog and posting that, and then I think being recognized for the first time by someone that I didn't know before and that was a subscriber. She was actually from India and she was at Harvard with her family touring and was like, hey, like I'm here, you know, I'm applying, like I think she was in 8th grade. But you know, like
8th grade.
Yeah, quite young. I mean, wasn't applying then, but like she's like, I'm going to be applying.
It.
Like,
yeah.
You inspire me. And I think I freaked her out because I kind of started crying and was like, oh my gosh, this is an amazing experience. Like I never thought this would happen to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, like she asked for a photo and then went back to her family and it was really cute. And I was just like stunned kind of after that. I was like, wow, like this actually happened. And, you know, people talk about how special it is when, you know, people come up to them and say like, I love your channel. I love you as a person. Like you really helped me. But actually getting to experience that for the first time, and like every time that I do get to experience it, like it's incredible. It just reminds me like why I do it. You know, just have these young girls come up to me and saying like, hey, you've helped me in so many ways. Like you inspire me. That it means the world.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. Yeah, that constantly is the best thing.
Yeah. What is the hardest part for you about being a YouTube influencer?
Definitely the hate, I think, and not feeling in control about what's being said about me, like online or in person, and just like the judgments people make, I think a lot too, especially as a woman. I think it is very hard. You know, we live in a very sexist world sometimes, and I think being online has definitely reminded me of that more than anything else. But I think staying true to who you are and continuously being brave and posting things even when people are hating on you, like that's been the toughest, but it's also been the most rewarding.
If you were to get started today, what would you have done differently?
I would have had, I think, well, knowing what I know now, I would have posted more consistently, had better quality. And I think I would have defined from the very beginning, like what the purpose of my channel was going to be and kind of been more individual. And I think I would have waited to post videos like about Harvard specifically and kind of would have tried to establish me as a person first rather than establishing where I went to school first, because it's kind of been like the opposite where like people first see the Harvard label and then they kind of get to know me. I would rather have them get to know me first and then just, you know, my school be just a place that I attend.
But don't you think it's the fact that your school, it was so unique, you know, the Harvard thing, that's ultimately what led to the popularity, which led to people getting to know you? Yeah,
it was. I think it's been the other way than what a lot of people experience. And I think I wouldn't have changed that, but I would have been more secure in who I was and the message that I was trying to convey first going into that, like realizing that it was going to blow up because I, you know, had no idea.
Like what's the message you feel like you're portraying versus a message that you really actually wanted to portray?
I guess there hasn't really been a consistent message, or there wasn't initially. I think it was just like, oh, hey, this is a fun video, I'm just going to post it. And that's still a large, you know, I guess image of my channel now is that, you know, this is just me and my life and I'm just doing me, but I really want to make it more meaningful and to be as authentic as possible and kind of serve as, you know, just like, I don't know, a point of inspiration for people, like kind of look at like the struggles and like my journey and everything that I've gone through, and to be as open and honest and vulnerable about that as possible, to share that with people and, you know, make people feel less alone and inspire like a little girl around the world that like, you know, was me and that like in the same way that many YouTubers did for me. And I think it's sometimes hard to pinpoint why exactly we like someone and are drawn to someone. And that's something I've kind of, you know, wondered about is like, why me? Like, why do people keep coming back? Why do I have such loyal subscribers that love me? Like, what is it about that? And I think it's just coming back to it's just connection, and it's just treating people like people and, you know, reminding people that you're human too. And so I want to help people in any way that I can. But I think a big way is just breaking down a lot of walls and being as authentic as possible. And I want to share a lot more of my struggles and open up about things that are hard to talk about because, you know, I'm a very positive person. Like my channel kind of radiates positivity in a lot of ways, but I want to have it be a space where, you know, I can talk about things that I'm struggling with and, you know, be open and honest and destigmatize a lot of things too.
If you could change one thing about YouTube, what would it be?
I think I would make it more personal and more in person. I know like it is like an online platform, but I think I would have better ways for people to connect outside of the platform. I think having a support system for YouTubers and for people like content creators to actually meet others and be inspired. I think there are many ways and like conferences and meetups and stuff that we get to meet each other, but a big, I don't know, kind of not hardship, but like a big thing of mine that I've had to kind of deal with is like feeling so lonely on the platform and feeling that like I don't have a lot of like support or resources from other YouTubers and like actively having to go out and find people. And like luckily like I've been to a few meetups and I've met some people and it's been like incredible and, you know, done like collabs and stuff. But I think having a central platform or way for people
creators to connect.
Yeah, I think having something more in person that is started by YouTube but kind of gets taken over by everyone else would be amazing. Just a way for people, especially starting out, to learn from each other. I think there's so much content being created, but there's not a lot of content being created about helping each other and teaching each other these tools. Is like, you know, where the best like that you can learn from it are like our other YouTubers. And I think we don't do enough learning from each other.
Yeah. What has been the biggest mistake you've made on your channel?
Not being as authentic as I would like. I think I wouldn't pinpoint it to any certain instance, but I think kind of showcasing things like in my day in the life video, for example, like it is largely my experience. It's what I do every day, but I think I sugarcoated a little bit of my experience, and I wouldn't, looking back, wouldn't have done that. Or, you know, I think I made it seem like I handle everything really well, which like maybe that day I did, but not every day. And it is a struggle. And I think in a way I trivialized my experience because I made it seem so easy when it isn't. And I think I want to give myself a little bit more credit and be like, hey, this is really hard to manage, but you know, I'm getting by, I'm making it, I'm thriving in many ways, but I have really tough days too. And, you know, like I really want to put out a video soon, kind of just like a super bad day in my life. Like this is what a really sucky day looks like. And you know what? Like we all have them. Not many people film them, but I want to show that like, hey, like I try to see the good in every single day, but you know, sometimes things just aren't going your way. And I want to show that. And so I think that was like the biggest mistake I watched
that video, the day in the life, and because you had, and I looked at the comments, and you had 2 classes. Some people were like, oh, her day seems so easy, she's going to coffee, she has 2 classes. And the reality is like, well, I mean, that's like one day in college. A lot of times, sometimes you have 2 classes, sometimes you have 3 classes, but it's like you have a lot of homework, you have a lot going on, you have your YouTube channel. And I see what you're saying in regards to like trivializing the entire experience by making it seem like easy breezy. Look at this amazing day. I'm going to go like, you know, to grab coffee, and I'm going to do this. Oh, and I have class. Like, it's like, okay, well, you didn't see the moments where I was like stressing out and like sitting there and putting, you know, like, I know I see what you're saying, having watched that video. Okay. So, what is the best decision you've made about your YouTube channel?
I think just deciding to do it and deciding to just jump in and actively start posting and actively start a channel. I think it was a big leap of faith. I remember I'd always wanted to do it since I was about 14. And then I just finally did it and was like, hey, I'm just going to post a video. And I posted it on my Instagram, was like, all right, go check this out. Like, it's really bad, but I wanted to do this for such a long time. And you know, it might just be this one video that I ever post, but like, hey, I actually did it. And I think so much of what we want to do is like, we're being stopped by that fear of just like making that first move. And so I think for me, that was like the biggest part, was just actively starting it.
What is the best opportunity you've received as a result of your YouTube channel?
I would say the opportunity to get involved with things, as like when people brand you as an influencer, you have like, your voice has a certain amount of weight. And so I think I wouldn't pinpoint it to any one opportunity, but there's, you know, there's some like things in the works, but being able to lend my voice to like an issue that I really care about and have the opportunity to kind of weigh in and promote something and use my platform for good. Like at Harvard recently, we just had an environmental and leadership summit, which it's called HEALS for short. And it was started by my friend, and it brought together a lot of different like faculty and like a Massachusetts senator and, you know, policymakers, students, business people all together to talk about like, hey, what are we going to do about the environment? And I remember she reached out to me and was like, hey, I'm starting this thing. And, you know, you have a platform, people listen to you, you care about the environment. Like, do you want to help? And I was like, yes. And I think being an influencer and having a platform has allowed me those opportunities where maybe people wouldn't approach me, like if I was just me and I didn't have a following. But now that I do, I realize the responsibility that comes with that and the opportunity that comes with that, and that I'm able to lend my voice to things that I really care about and like shed light on a lot of different struggles and things going on in the world.
Yeah, I think that's great. It's as a influencer, there is a responsibility, and it's kind of like really up to you what you do with it. You know, you could do it for good, or you can do it for selfish reasons or bad. And yeah, I think that's great. And last question is, what is your YouTube superpower? Meaning, what is it about you that comes naturally to you that has contributed to your success?
I joke that I'm camera shy, but I don't like, I think that I'm actually not when I'm filming alone.
Uh-huh.
I think my biggest asset, I think, has been just kind of being real with the camera and showing my day and like who I am kind of just as it is. I mean, I think one of the biggest compliments you can get is like, oh, you're the same in person as you
Yeah.
are like and on your channel. And that's something I hear a lot from people. And like, the people that know me, like definitely if I'm not showing like my bad parts as much as I'm showing like my good parts, and I want to change that. But I think the thing that has drawn a lot of people to me, I think, has been my authenticity and how I'm kind of like unapologetically myself. And I having a channel and being in college, like I've transformed so much, but largely like the biggest change has been that I've grown so much into the person that I want to become and who like I kind of know I am.
Yeah.
And college has really been that for me. It's like, in high school, I had no idea what I was doing. And there was all these different directions that I could go. In college, I was like, all right, this is going to be my path. This is what I'm interested in. It's not a lot of other people's paths. I'm kind of alone in this, but this is what I want to do and I'm going to do it. And I started just getting involved in things that I really cared about and that were me, and, rejecting things that weren't me and that didn't serve me and my like purpose. And I think that comes across in my channel too, is that I'm just very me, and this is just one part of me, but it's not all of me too. So I think just the ability to be like authentic and kind of just show up as I am and not have any sort of facade.
Where do you see yourself? I know I said that was the last question, but I have one more question. Where do you see yourself like in 5 years, like after you graduated from school? Like where do you see yourself?
I think in New York, definitely New York. I love New York. I want to live there like with my friends in an apartment. And I want to be the CEO of my own company. So I want to start something in college, hopefully, and take YouTube. Like definitely would still be doing YouTube, but it would just be one part of kind of what I do. I don't see it as being like my full-time career, at least not right now, because I think I want to do a lot of things like with the platform. And so I want to relate to people as best that I can and build a following based on like that authenticity factor and people coming back for me, and then take that platform and do something meaningful with it to, help the world, help women largely. And I don't know exactly what that's going to be or what that company will be, but that's largely where I see myself, is actually like making change and helping people. And I think, if I can say that I've done something good with my channel, whatever that may be in 5 years, I'll be happy about it.
I love that. That's great. I mean, having influence and having a platform like YouTube with hundreds of thousands of subscribers, I mean, I said in 5 years, so at that point, who knows, you could be at 1 million, right? It's so powerful. Yeah. And it's, it's refreshing to see somebody say, I want to take that. I don't know if it's my end all be all, but I'm going to be taking that and I'm going to be using it for good. I'm going to take that. I'm going to couple that with my education, my degree, whatever. And I'm going to do something with it. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to do something with it.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Well, it's been such a pleasure having you here on the podcast. I can't wait to see, your future and everything. I just thought your experience is so unique, being in college, a place like Harvard, plus having a very successful YouTube channel. And so thank you so much for sharing your stories and your experiences with me and our listeners and our viewers. And for people watching and listening that are not familiar with you and want to check you out, where can they find you?
Yes. So my channel is just my name, Sienna Santer, and then my Instagram is just at Sienna Santer too, and my Twitter as well. So
perfect. And then,
pretty basic.
Yeah. And then I'll have the links and everything in the show notes and also here on YouTube in the description. And then, if you're listening, come over to YouTube. If you're here on YouTube, let us know, like, what did you think about her story, anything that you picked up, any aha moments for you? Share them in the comments below. We'd love to see them. All right. Thank you so much, Sienna. It was such a pleasure.
Thank you. This was incredible. I love talking with you.
Oh, thank you so much. Bye.